You're listening to Your Daily Dungeon, a Dungeons & Dragons podcast by Your Daily Nerd.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, adventurers. Hey.
I don't like that.
Shut up. I don't like it.
Wait,
Welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed our Halloween special, Spooktacular. We put forth, I think, 3 episodes that coming week of Halloween. Is that correct, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to be back on our regular scheduled recording. So let's go ahead and just jump straight back into it.
No.
You guys wake up from your nightmare from the previous evening, inside this mill.
I just woke up from a nightmare. That's what DJ says.
Shut up, DJ.
Fuck you guys.
Irina sits up. She goes like, "And here I was, very much so hoping that Dijo had actually died."
Wait, you're saying I didn't actually die?
No.
You did.
Oh, you won't believe this. I had the most wonderful dream.
Did Dijo die?
How did you know?
Wait, I
Just
had
a
that
hunch.
dream too. It was awful.
I don't know what dream you were having.
That's a one.
DJ's just looking at Mel like smacking like that.
Smacking what?
Just kidding.
Just like he's salty. He just looks salty, you know.
Dijo is always salty.
He is, in fact.
He's a salty little man.
Dijo is what you would call a salt miner.
Facts.
So, you guys kind of start gathering your things together, and you decide it's time to get the hell out of this awful, terrible building.
Are the kids with us?
They are, yes.
Oh. Did this just turn into an escort mission?
Yeah, but they'll travel the same as people.
Nah, Watt's gonna totally carry them the whole way and like tell them stories and shit to keep them happy.
You terrify them. You undead monstrosity.
Understandable.
And I tell them horror stories the whole way. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes, you tell them all the stories about how you really want your dead wife back so you can make love with her. You nasty fuck.
What? You see, you cut out. So I didn't hear that whole insult. So I'm actually genuinely confused.
Something dead wife.
That's really all you need to know.
Sick fuck.
Something dead wife. Something you sick fuck.
Yeah. That's like all I got.
That's the formula to insulting Mel. Alrighty. So you gather up your belongings and you exit the mill. And you travel along Old Vallaki Road, heading northwest. You actually have the road swings out to the northeast before eventually curving back towards the northwest, kind of skirting the edge of a mist-filled forest. This forest kind of banks around the road on both sides, choking it off, kind of dropping the road down to no bigger than 8 to 10 feet at lengths at the thinnest points. You don't encounter anything of great danger or interest the rest of the way there, beyond maybe Dijo won't stop talking.
That is
Facts.
the greatest danger of all. It's all basically counting on the fact that none of us don't get frustrated enough to throw him into the mist-covered forest.
It takes you about a day to travel the rest of the distance there. Once you get there, it's probably late afternoon. We'll say about 3 to 4-ish or so. It's a very cold day, and you notice that the snow has started to fall up here. You're pretty far north in Barovia. You can see that mountains skirt the backside of this city as you're approaching probably the most civilized-looking destination you've ever been to in this country so far. You've traversed the length of it, as a matter of fact. Vallaki is located close to the shores of Lake Zerovich, which is just north of the city. It's a large lake, almost as big as the entire city itself, I believe. Oh, no, it's significantly larger.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
dead
good.
ass lying to you. Lake Zerovich makes up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about a 3-mile long lake.
Wow.
3 to 4 mile long lake.
Wow.
Neat.
And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about a mile at its widest point. The lake itself is kind of set north of the city as you're descending down into the valley. The city is seated at the southernmost point of this valley, while the lake makes up pretty much the majority of the valley itself. So the city's like a little dot beside the lake, basically. But you can tell just due to the relative size of the lake that the city is actually pretty large for even Barovia itself. The city, it's let's see here. Just short of a mile in length,
Okay.
and it's about half a mile or so long north to south, or tall north to south. The city is an oblong shape. The best I could describe it is that it looks kind of like a genie's lamp.
Ah. I see.
It's got a thin needle nose tip that kind of bulges out into a large center where the majority of the buildings are kind of bustle together, and then a scoop up at the top where the handle could be formed almost, jutting out towards the lake, and then back at the base side we've got like the bottom side of this genie's lamp with more buildings. You are approaching from the city's southeast, obviously because you're traveling northwest. You arrive at the southernmost gates at around 3:30ish or so. The old Vallaki road meanders into a valley watched over by dark brooding mountains to the north and south. The woods recede, revealing a berg surrounded by a wooden palisade. So like giant wooden stakes sticking up out of the ground.
Mm-hmm.
A thick fog presses up against this wall as though looking for a way inside, hoping to catch the town of slumber. The dirt road ends at a set of sturdy iron gates with a pair of shadowy figures standing behind them. The dirt road, as I said, kind of gives way to that iron gate. You see 2 shadowy figures standing guard, planted in the ground and flanking the road outside the gates. You see a half dozen pikes with wolves' heads impaled upon them.
Dang.
Wolves?
Wolf heads, yes. Wolves. A 15-foot high wall encloses this town. Its vertical logs held together with thick ropes and mortar. And the top of each log has a sharpened point. Wooden scaffolding, you can see, is erected behind it, hugging this palisade. About 12 feet off the ground, you could make just enough so that the guards could stand over and look over the top of it. Just to peer a little bit over it.
Is the gate closed?
The gate is indeed closed. You're at the, I believe, the easternmost gate. You see that the gate has a large sun, kind of worked into the iron center point. The metalworking itself resembles a
Resembles a what?
sun.
A sun.
Would religion check to recognize this? Or what kind of check to recognize the sun symbol?
You would know instantly that it's Lathander's symbol.
It's the morning.
That's
Lord.
the Morning Lord, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
He likes to be worshipped in the morning. That's what I gather from that.
He is
Yeah, something like that.
a lord.
A lord of the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
He
Or
is the
no.
day man.
So you see 2 town guards are up on top of the palisade. As you're approaching, you see that there is a woman there without a helmet on, kind of sprawls down to her shoulders. It's dark black, and she's got pale skin and blue eyes. You see her kind of cast her view down upon you guys and cock an eyebrow. So, you see a woman standing atop the palisade with her spear in one hand and another man beside her. And the woman, young woman with black hair and blue eyes and pale skin, kind of like a Snow Whitish looking appearance, kind of leans forward over the wall and glances at you guys, kind of surveying you as you approach. And she calls out, hailing you, saying, "Halt! Halt! Take no steps further. Hail you from where?"
From that direction, and I point behind me.
He's right,
Irina.
you know.
Irina looks thoroughly displeased with you.
I mean, technically, don't we all come from like the Sword Coast? Technically,
We come from the Sword Coast.
Irina again kind of blinks a couple times, sighs, says, "Tell them Barovia."
If we do-
Barovia.
that sounds
Somebody else
treacherous.
should speak.
The village of Barovia.
Yes.
The woman kind of looks at you guys as you bicker amongst yourselves, and she looks over at the other guard, and she says, "All right then, just step inside, and one at a time, though."
All right. Well, I think
Mel, you go first.
yeah. I obviously am the most important here.
Mm.
So, Mel, you approach the door, this big iron gate. It's about an 8-foot tall gate, and the guy, you see a guard standing behind it, kind of approach the gate at the bottom. You see that the gate is actually not locked. He just kind of unclasps it and swings it open for you to step inside.
All right. I step inside.
So he shuts the gate behind you, and he pats you down looking for weapons.
Okay. He finds a dagger.
Okay. He makes note of the dagger, acknowledges that it's for self-defense, and then kind of pats you down a little further past after the find of the dagger, and then dismisses you.
Okay. He finds some other weird stuff too, but
Probably that Eye of Nothic.
and preserved direwolf tongue, a hag's finger.
Oh, he's not digging through your bags.
Oh, okay, cool.
No, he's just doing like the TSA pat.
Cool.
All right. So next gen, he takes in Dejo, and he has Dejo stand in a box while he pats Dejo down.
You look good, DJ.
Thanks.
Dejo,
agree.
how many knives do you have on you, Dejo?
Oh, I have 3 daggers, a short sword. I have a short bow,
Some roast
some
beef, a
arrows.
chicken, a pizza.
a hand crossbow. I have some thieves' tools. I have
You
a
guys
burglar's
are watching
pen.
through the gate. You guys are watching through the gate as this guy just like unasses Dejo's fucking equipment just off the side of the box. He finds
I
the
also have
third
a
knife.
top
He finds the third knife. Oh yeah, from the house, from Death House.
hat. Yeah.
He finds the third knife on the inside, strapped to Dejo's thigh beneath his pants.
I imagine it's that scene from like The Dark Knight when they're searching the Joker and they're putting all the knives and everything on the table.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
it's just a whole bunch of crap.
That's exactly what's happening.
He finds that third knife and he's like, "All right, I need you to bend over."
Dejo just looks at him and is like, why?
I'm looking for any kind of signs of your allegiance to Strahd. Typically, they bear this. You see him pull out like what looks to be like an example knife, and he kind of sets it down in the box. And he's like, "See here, this is the symbol of Strahd von Zadovich's family. You'll notice that the purple insignia. Look, you get the idea. Bend over so I can reach up inside your fucking pants and feel around in there for anything that might be dangerous."
All right. Go ahead.
You heard him, DJ?
This definitely seems against TSA guidelines.
Spread them.
I do not
Well,
feel
I
safe.
mean, he's
Dejo does it as awkwardly as possible.
He kind of digs up in there. He looks back at Mel and he says, "How does your child already have a full-grown beard?"
Oh, he
It's hormonal.
Shut up, Dad.
It's hormone therapy.
You see him pull out that final knife, and as he picks it up, he goes, "Oh, that smells awful. Here, you can have it back. All right, now you're good. You're clean. You can pick up your shit and go."
I pick up my shit and get out of there. I make
All
like
right.
a tree and get out.
Next is Davros. Davros, you step in, and he like kind of looks you up and down, and he's like, "An elf? Okay."
I look up at my ears. Oh shit, yeah.
You should have been really surprised.
Just be like, wait, who?
What? What do you mean? Where?
God, now I
like
now
Scooby Doo.
Now I
I'm
really want,
Elfo.
now I really want Davros to be like a stoner elf who forgets that he's an elf.
Seriously, it's like fucking Scooby Doo. So,
Is that all he says to me, though?
now he looks a little bit confused, and he says, "Aren't all of your people supposed to be out upon the hill?
It's supposed to be where? Sorry, you broke up.
Out upon the hill."
And some of us, I was never really close with them.
He says,
Or rather, they weren't close with me.
he cocks an eyebrow, and he says, "You want to speak with Casimir, who want to know that you've been missing. It's not every day you see a dusk elf strolling about the streets of, Barovia. He's mistaken you for a dusk elf."
Okay, I was about to ask if that was him or if you made a...
No, it seems that he's mistaken. This is not the first time this has happened.
Yeah.
Remember Ismark and the city before this also thought you were a dusk elf.
Kind of cock my eyebrow at him and see if he notices my displeasure.
If he does, he seems to give little shit.
Dusk elf, I didn't realize I was that damn ugly.
And he says, "Well, you also have hair. All of them shave their heads, so it is a bit odd."
Yeah, Davros, I can fix that for you.
Yeah, I'd really rather you didn't.
Yeah,
What are the odds?
So the guard pats you down. Do you have like a scimitar or anything on you? That's it.
I've got a sword and I've got a shield.
He's not gonna. He doesn't care about this. So he literally like sees the scabbard and he goes like, "Okay, just a weapon for self-defense. All right, you're good to go." Irina steps in after you, and he pats Irina down, and he pulls out just a couple daggers, a rapier, and a short sword, and that's it, and dismisses her without much of an exchange other than a simple hi in Barovian. So, next in is Watt. He looks at you, and you see some fright pass across his face as he eyes you, and he turns back to the group that's through the gates, and he says, "You do realize you travel with an undead?"
I'm gonna be like,
call him that.
I'm gonna be like, oh no, I'm a servant of the Bright Lord, Morning Lord.
The Bright Lord.
Yeah,
Morningwood.
you've done that so many different times.
I know. I play too much Shadow of War.
So he looks at you and he says, "I don't really want to touch you. You can just go forward."
I'm like, understandable. Cool, thanks.
So last is
There's two left. There's me and Norik.
oh yeah, that's right. The two scariest motherfuckers around it.
Right.
Completely. Yeah. So Norik, you step in and the guy eyeballs you and he says, "You're a funny looking elf too."
Is he shorter than I am?
He might be the same height as you. He's about 5'8".
Okay, I'm a little taller than him.
Huh?
And I'm a little taller than he is. I'm gonna kind of like make myself look a little taller because I don't like this dude. Like I don't know.
He gives you the willies.
I just don't like him. I just don't get a good vibe from him.
Okay.
But he's like, so he says that, and I look at him and I say, "And you're a funny-looking monkey."
Oh!
He looks at you and he says, all right, off with your weapons. Let me see them. He goes to pat you down.
Okay. He finds a masterwork longsword, a longbow, but he's gonna have trouble disarming me of my greatsword since I have weapon bond.
Okay. I got the mental image of him trying to disarm you in my head now. It's just like won't budge.
Well, the funny thing is that like he can't just set the weapon down on the ground and walk away from it. He can literally throw that weapon off of like the tallest mountain in the world, go to a fancy party, be sitting at a meal, eating the food, go like, huh, I want to kill this guy next to me. Summon the sword from the depths of the ocean that he threw it into off that cliffside. It's instantly in his hands, and he just killed the person with it.
I feel
That's
that.
what it means.
I like to think that it's more of like a Thor's hammer type deal where I just kind of stick my hand out and it flies through like whatever it has to get to my hand.
Everyone does that with this weapon, so yes, that's
Yeah,
of course.
I love it. I love
It's
it.
hilarious to imagine.
I did that just the other day
Yes, you did.
with my Eldritch Knight.
So he finishes patting you down, and he does spend a couple seconds trying to remove the hammer from your back. I mean, the greatsword from your backside. And he's like, I just need to see this real fast before. Can I please just? Oh my God, this thing's so fucking heavy. Oh, God. All right, you know, fine, fuck it, just go on.
This is a great guard.
I don't know if that's sarcastic or not.
A little bit.
I like to imagine Watt's just not sarcastic at all.
He's very enthusiastic about his work, as is Watt. Alrighty, so next, you step in, Mr. Tiefling Man, and he looks upon
I
your
just want to
ears.
let you, want everybody to know that I'm walking in with my shoes in my hands because I know how this goes.
With your shoes in your hands.
Yes, like I'm getting on, like I'm going through security through TSA.
Oh. He looks at you and he's like, I just need to pat your weapons down. Also, take your hood down.
Okay, so I'll pull my hood down.
He spends a couple of moments studying you, blinks a few times, and he goes, "Oh! Oh!" And he turns off and he starts running down the street.
Yeah, that'll happen sometimes.
Not again.
I'm just like, so does that mean you're good to come through?
I don't think it doesn't. It means I'm not good to come through.
Just put your hood up, you'll be fine.
He makes it about like 10 steps away before Irina says, "Wait, stop!" and goes running after him.
Oh no.
No,
I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna watch him for a little bit, and then I'm just gonna kind of sit down on the ground and start putting my shoes back on. Just like, oh god, it's always really uncomfortable to do this, like in front of other people. You're afraid your feet stink. Like,
Oh, so that's what that smell was.
yeah,
No,
man,
that was you, Dijo.
These are adventuring shoes.
Wait, maybe you're right, Watt.
It could also be me, the zombie, but you know.
DJ remembers the last time he took a shower. Or took a bath.
Alrighty, so he doesn't make it very far before Irina chases him down and tackles him, and he's just like, God! Oh my God! Ring the bell! Ring the bell!
I'm just. Go on.
She kind of like starts whispering in his ear in Barovian, and he kind of like struggles a couple seconds, and she looks over at Mel, and she's like, "Could you get sleep or something? Calm him down."
I'm like, yeah, I got this, and I'll cast Calm Emotions on him.
Oh, nat 20 on the save.
God damn it. I'm like, Mel.
I just like give a big old sigh. I'm just like, oh, I have to do everything. I just get up and I cast sleep.
This is a great way to start in a new city, huh?
He doesn't have enough hit points to actually, stay awake. So, boop, he's out. The two guards up on top of the palisade look down, and one shakes their head, and you hear the other one, the male go like, "Oh, that's not my problem."
You are great comrades.
He looks over and he says, "You know how many vampires come in here and kill people? I'm not going to be one of them today."
I would imagine that not very many with all those wooden stakes all around.
He says, "Oh, you'd be surprised." Oh, that's not funny.
Aw.
So, Irina kind of like picks the guy up and like sets him up against one of the sides of one of the buildings and kind of like leans his head so that it looks comfy, and then sets his spear beside him, and he's like, "Okay, I think it'll be fine." She grins as he slumps down into the mud.
Is this worth a spare the dying to wake him up?
That's not how spare the dying works.
He's not dead. He's sleeping.
He's literally just sleeping.
Okay.
He's a sleepy boy. This sleepy, sleepy little boy.
Well, I feel like I know which Eldritch Invocation I'm going to be taking next. Mask of Many Faces, thank you.
So, you guys are walking along the street after kind of setting that guard aside to let him take a nap. He's taking a nice little mud nap. So you guys are walking along the street, and you approach what looks to be like a large stockyard on your left to the south of the city. This large stockyard has several locked sheds along its periphery, and it lies adjacent to what looks to be like a roomy warehouse. You see a wooden sign above the front gate reads Arask Stockyard. Parked at the south end of the stockyard is a sturdy carnival wagon. Its colorful paint peeled off, and in faded lettering on its side spells out the words Victavio's Carnival of Wonders. A heavy padlock secures that door on the side of the carnival wagon. It looks like it's perhaps the stockyard is like a flea market / general store.
Interesting.
Waka waka.
Ian, would this be a good place
Oh.
to sell something?
Looks like a place to.
Yeah, if you want to try and sell something, you can go in there and sell something.
Ooh, I have something to sell.
Can we sell people?
Jesus Christ, Djo. Wow. Are
How
you
much will you pay for a gnome?
You get kidnapped by a cannibal once, and suddenly you want to become one.
Not necessarily.
Are-
Not really applicable if she's not.
Are
a
you
part of the
serious?
Species.
Like, was that a serious suggestion?
Well,
Irina, Irina flicks your ear and says, "Be quiet."
Well, we do have all these kids that we could sell now too.
Is this like a
whoa,
general
whoa,
goods
whoa, 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 whoa.
Ian, how
What's
many
in-
how many kids do we have in our inventory?
You have 2 non-combatants with 1 HP apiece, and they're both lawful, good human children.
Okay.
Perfect,
Perfect to
expendable.
sell. I'm kidding. We should not sell them. He's just like, that was a joke.
Yeah, just sell one.
One is afflicted with a madness, and it reads as, "I saw my parents sell me for food."
Ooh.
So he's used to it then.
So Ian, I actually
Well,
have a
wouldn't be the
question about the
first
game.
What are you asking, Mel?
Is this like a general goods store?
Yeah, it's like a general goods store.
Okay.
It's an open flea market / stockyard. There is a warehouse with a sign on it, and it looks like the warehouse has open doors, but like it looks like the entire place is a market.
Do they sell weird stuff?
You'd have to go ask them.
All right, I'm gonna go ask if they sell weird stuff.
Okay, so Mel, you
just
step through the
sneakily
threshold.
follows Mel.
Give a stealth check, I guess. I don't know how sneaky you're being.
I mean,
Yeah,
just being sneaky now.
I'm actually walking away from y'all. So if you want to follow me, but I'm just like, I'm gonna go do some business around town. I'll catch up with you.
Let's see. Djo rolls a 26.
Jesus.
Dijo slips off unnoticed, following behind Mel.
Oh yeah, I'm not even gonna attempt.
I don't know that you could, Mr. Wizard.
Is there any way that I can notice him?
If you really want to look for where he would, you don't see Dijo standing next to you anymore. Do you actually wonder where he ran off to?
I mean, with everything that's been going on,
We want to make sure he didn't get kidnapped by cannibals again.
Okay. You can roll. What'd you roll?
it was a 15 plus 7, 22.
Yeah, you don't know where he went to.
Yep.
You fool!
DJ's been in the city for all of like what 2 minutes, and he's already disappeared.
And we've lost him. I'm just like, if he gets eaten this time, it's his fault.
Okay, so if we didn't see him leave, when would we notice him? That's the real question.
Moments after Mel walked off, you noticed that DJ was also not there.
And I assume that y'all still see me walking off, and DJ is not with me.
DJ, for whatever reason, is deciding to sneak.
It's all for the prank.
DJ just vanishes into the crowd inside the stockyard.
I am very curious about this carnival wagon.
Okay.
I would like to kind of like take a look at it, like get up a little closer and look.
Let's go. First off,
Hold up. Repeat that, please.
does anybody follow Mel?
I just turned to Davros. I'm like, hey, so where are we going?
I mean, do we really want him to go by himself?
I deliberately stepped away from you.
It doesn't stop them from deliberately following you anyway.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me.
Ian,
Yes.
I mean,
hang on.
I still
what-
have
Actually-
these gold spurs from Death House, and I want to sell them.
What are you trying to sell from Death House?
These gold spurs that I found.
Oh, the gold spurs.
Yeah, do I see somewhere like a or something that I could sell them to?
Yeah, you want to go up to one of the just the nearby vendors. There's a couple people who don't seem to be owners of the shop. They're just there selling goods.
Yeah, sure, I'll do that.
So you approach the vendor and you show them the item you have. Dylan.
I show them the gold spurs, and I'm like, how much can I get for these? They're solid gold.
Let's see. So he's gonna roll an appraisal check. Ooh. His eye widens as he looks at it. He picks it up, and this guy has never seen anything made of solid gold before, much less even touched it. His excitement is clearly drawn upon his face. He cannot contain his excitement. You could just visually tell that he's just absolutely exuberant to have something like this around. A golden spur is incredibly valuable to this man, but not only that, a spur in general is just not something you see amongst commoners. He could make great use of this. So he looks at you, Dylan, and he says, "I'll give you 25 gold for it."
I look at him and I say, by the look on your face, I feel like it's worth a lot more than that.
Roll a persuasion at advantage.
Damn it, 14.
14. He kind of looks at you and he kind of says, "All right, fine, I'll double it for no more."
Can I say, okay, so 50 for each?
Yes. So you can add 100 gold to your inventory.
Not bad.
Okay. Anything else?
And,
You
I have a masterwork longsword, but I don't want to talk to this guy about it. I want to find someone who is like a weapons expert.
like a smith?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a smith in town you can sell it to. You don't want to sell it here at this flea market.
No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold on to it.
Okay. So, Mel, you approach the warehouse general store.
Yeah.
All right. So you step inside. You kind of like traced across this muddy lot, and you get the great sense that people kind of like are looking at you with some spectacle. You are definitely foreign looking to a lot of the commoners around here. These people you notice are starkly contrasted from the people of Barovia. They seem to kind of have, non-tattered clothing, kind of dress a little better. They look less filthy, and the look of fear on their faces, instead of fear, they look more kind of tired and exhausted just from the place they live in. They don't look like they're on the brink of death, though. They look like they've been living in a relatively normal city life.
Like British during World War II time.
Yeah, or like they look kind of like Victorian almost. Like
Well, I'm saying like, British attitude during World War II when they were just being bombed. It was like, well, my house got bombed. Still got to go to work.
Bummer.
yeah.
Like,
I suppose that's a good way to represent it. They're kind of like you know how the people in the Sherlock Holmes films all kind of like dressed really nicely, but they're all kind of really dour.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're like that. Yeah. They're not bums. These people are dressed pretty relatively nice. The city looks like have been, despite the constant bombardment of evil monsters upon the city, it's the most established.
Okay.
So you walk inside and you see a married couple, probably middle-aged, standing behind the bar, selling some goods. It kind of looks like they've got a variety of goods up on the counter and they're haggling with some of the people. You see some nice clothes, a couple of rugs. Somebody is trying to sell what looks to be like a family shield. And one guy looks to be like he's trying to hawk what looks to be like a very fancy comb.
Okay.
You see the woman kind of like throw her up in the air as this one guy tries to like walk out with the item. She says, "Fine. How about I give you 10 gold and you can take the compass for 15 gold. Is that fair?" And the guy goes, "Hardly, but I guess I don't have a choice, so give it to me." He kind of like swaps the couple of like wolf skins he had and scoops up the compass. You see the guy step away, and you see a tall man with a bald head and a big thick beard and a scarred out left eye kind of chuckle and look at the other guys. He's walking out, and he says, What's so funny?" He's like, "Well, that's what you get for dropping compass." And the other guy says, Yeah, whatever. Shut up, Zeldar." And he rolls his eyes as he steps away from you. These two grizzled guys kind of step past you, wearing like wolfskin clothing and kind of carrying hunter's gear.
All right. And they do they walk out?
Yeah, they step out past you. You're left alone with the two owners.
Yeah. As they're passing me, I kind of like tend to look at something. I'm like admire something in the shop.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Wait for them to walk out, and then I kind of like turn over and hello there. My name is Mel. Nice to meet y'all.
The male owner kind of leans across the counter and extends a big meaty hand. He stands at about 6'2", and he's very broad-chested, with streaks of gray in his hair. He's probably about maybe 10 years younger than you at most, Mel, you can tell. And he says, "Gunther, nice to meet you."
Oh, nice to meet you too, Gunther.
"This is my wife, Yelena. She is like brick. And you see Yelena kind of like clap her chest, and then throw out a middle finger at her husband with a smile.
Well, I came in today because I'm actually looking for, possibly maybe y'all or another shop that maybe sells odd trinkets.
She looks at you. The wife does, and she kind of cocks an eyebrow, and Gunther says, "Ah, yes, I know just what you mean." He turns around and he picks up something on the counter behind him, and he sets down like 6 different bottles of various colors. He says, "Odd trinkets. We find these on our last trip out to, well, what is the remaining of Vallaki."
And what are these?
He says, "I don't know, but they smell funny." He kind of like takes one off. Do you lean
One
in
of
to
the
smell it?
vials and look at it.
Do you smell it, or you just look at it? He hands it. He kind of like hands it to you. Do you like lean forward to smell it?
Yeah. I kind of like do the stereotypical, like, smell it, look at it, kind of see what it is, ask him what it is.
So you lean forward and smell it, and it kind of smells very of oak and moss. You realize it's just cologne.
I set it down. I'm like, it's not exactly what I meant. You know, like very odd trinkets.
The woman looks at you and says, "Are you some vampire coming in here into my shop to buy vampire things?" And the husband looks at her like she's stupid. Says, "He came in without being invited, Yelena. He's obviously not a vampire."
I was just about to say that. You know, I kind of just walked into your store in the middle of the day.
He says, "But it is day. Day does not matter in Barovia or Vallaki in general. It's not as though Strahd could not step through that very door. I guess he can't step through the door. He can stand outside the door very menacingly while we burn to death inside of our shop. But he won't. Because, you know, everything is good in Vallaki. Everything is fine." He rolls his eyes sarcastically.
You know, I'm just looking for, you know, if there's a shop around here that sells things that would be considered out of the ordinary.
He kind of like looks at you and he says, "There's no such shop other than maybe the toy shop. That man Blinsky is a curator of very odd instruments. Or perhaps you could speak with Aaron Matakov in his tavern. I'm sure you've heard of it."
Actually, no, I haven't. I haven't heard of this tavern. I'm new around here.
"Ah, well, welcome to Vallaki. All is well." He rolls his eyes again sarcastically.
Yes, all is well.
He says, "Keep your nose clean and stay away from the Wachter house, and you'll be fine."
The what house?
The Wachter house?
What's wrong with that house?
He rolls his eyes and says, "Other than being a wretched, scheming, evil woman? Oh, nothing at all. Just a crazy old biddy. You know, you probably have a wife. You know what it's like to have a crazy woman beside you it all day." Though his wife slaps him across the shoulder and laughs.
Well, I can't say I don't understand that, but you know, I think I'll go check out that tavern. What's the name of that tavern?
The Blue Water Inn.
The Blue Water Inn?
No, Water.
Water?
Yes, Water. You know, W.
Yes. I'll go check it out.
He says, "Do you need me to spell it?"
Nope, I've got it. Thank you.
It is spelled T as in.
I'm walking backwards as he's talking to me.
Yeah, you see him pull out a napkin and he starts writing it down while you walk out.
Thank you. I've got it. I'm good. Thank you. Goodbye. Ian?
Yes. So you step out.
Yeah, I step out, and I go to the Blue Water Inn.
DJ, what were you doing this whole time?
Just watching.
What the fuck? Okay.
Creepy.
Alrighty. So Amnon strolls off away from Davros and Watt, heading over towards the carnival van. Do you guys follow him, or where do you go?
You said there were people outside selling stuff, right?
Yeah.
What are they selling?
It's basically a general goods store.
Okay, I'm gonna go up to them and ask them a question. I'm gonna ask them if they know of a place where I can get my weapons enchanted.
I'm gonna follow Wad.
So they look at you with a bit of concern every now and then, Watt, trying to figure out if you're really undead or not.
Do I notice this concern?
Oh, they're
Or
not
am I
trying to hide it.
Okay.
You are remarkably passively perceptive. I don't know how you couldn't.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna like. Oh no. I'm a servant of the Morning Lord. Sorry if I look scary.
That does not exactly help, but I guess it is better than nothing. Your best bet on getting something enchanted would possibly be going and speaking to Erwin Watakov. He is owner of Blue Water Inn. He would probably know who you would need to speak with.
Okay. Could you point me in the direction of this inn?
She says, "It is across town, midway through town. You will know it when you see it."
Noted. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm going with Wad.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do that and see about getting my weapons enchanted.
Yeah, she motions. It's like, it's just down main road, but halfway to town, on right side.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
She says, "Thank you, and stop being scary."
I will try my best. Sorry.
I can't help but.
So you step off. You notice that Irina followed you, Amnon. She kind of is ponderously looking at the wagon as well. You approach the wagon and you see it. You see her kind of like looking it over up and down. She's like, "This is very strange. This is not Vistani wagon."
Yeah, I remember from Madame Ava's reading, she talked about a carnival wagon, right?
Yes. What did she say about it exactly again?
Said something to do with it would help us to learn Strahd's history.
Well, I suppose it is a start. Perhaps you knock on door, maybe?
Yeah, okay. God, it's so good to be the devil man pretty much by himself. And I just walk up to the front door and I just give a little knock.
So, you rap it a couple times, and then the wagon suddenly lurches as though something big has thrown itself against the interior wall. You hear the creaking and cracking of wood and the scraping of metal, and the sounds of a snarl of something inhuman on the interior of the wagon.
I turn to Irina and I'm like, "You agree that's not good, right?"
She blinks a couple times and says, "Let us take a closer look. I suppose it could be worse. It is inside the wagon, where it is not trying to kill us."
True. Are there any kind of like maybe like windows on the side of it that I can look into?
Yeah, so the back door of it has some windows on it.
Yeah,
Some barred windows.
Take a little peek through there.
Yeah, so you and Irina kind of like trace around the side of the wagon as it continues to kind of like rattle itself. You kind of like step around the big hooped wheels. And you climb up onto... it's kind of like, you know how some wagons have like that stooped climb up on the back of it?
Yeah.
And it's like the two doors kind of open up to sweep over to that. So you open this up, or not open it up, sorry. You kind of like step up onto it, and you see that these two big chains intersect the doors to preventing them from opening up, and there's a big padlock across the center of it. As you kind of like approach and you look inside, and you see on the interior of the wagon It looks to be like a huge, absolutely massive feline creature, with two big saber teeth sticking at the front end of it, covered in half-plate armor, chained to the floor, and you can see that it's got like a bowl of food and water in front of it.
Would I know what this creature was?
Roll a nature check. Irina knows what it is.
That is a 14.
Yeah, it's a saber-tooth tiger.
Okay. It like wearing half plate armor.
Yes.
Neat.
It looks like it's specially tailored to make it to fit the creature.
Irina, any idea what they would have a saber-toothed tiger in here? Like, it's got food and water and stuff. Like, does this wagon like look like super like old or anything, or is it?
It looks weathered, and it looks like it's been traveled. And it looks like it hasn't been sitting forever, but it's been traveled.
Can't. I want to give like just a general like look around from where we're standing to see if anybody is watching us.
Give me a perception check. Also, Norik, are you still inside of the market?
No, I've walked out at this point and I'm looking for a blacksmith or a weapons shop or a blacksmith.
That's cocked.
Okay, so you stepped out. Mel, you're exiting the general store as you see these two kind of staring inside of a wagon.
I feel like we'd be just finishing the conversation with the people outside the store and would see that they're looking at the wagon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I got a 16,
Cool.
by the way.
So you see kind of sitting down, leaned against a looks to be like a table, chewing on you're not really sure. It's like he's got like a small plate of food, and you see he's got a large glass of bourbon or something like that. He's leaned up against the side of it, and you see a metal arm kind of tooling over a cigar in one hand, and a wide-brimmed hat kind of like obscuring his face. You see a very neatly combed and pointed beard from beneath this brimmed hat. He's looking kind of in your direction. You can tell that you can't see his eyes, but like obviously his attention is in your direction. Yes.
Gotcha.
You see it kind of like looking in your direction, and it kind of like pops the cigar into its mouth and kind of tools around with the cigar inside of its mouth before coming to a resting position. You see the embers on the front end of it glow red.
We all see this, or
Just Amnon, because he specifically asked if someone was watching him.
Oh.
Huh. I kind of like very subtly pointed out to Irina. Looks like we're not alone. Like we're being watched. Just play cool though.
She kind of like says, "Should we step away from the wagon, or should we continue to look around the wagon?"
We still need to find out some more information about what this wagon is. It may not have anything to do with Strahd, but until we do some more investigating, we won't know for sure.
You hear the sounds of the string on an arrow being pulled taut, or the string on a bow being pulled taut.
I'm gonna slightly lean my head back to see if there's something pointing directly into it.
So you lean your head back and up, and you see seated on top of the, not seated, but crouched on top of the wagon, a female elf kind of like pull her hood back by flipping her head. And you see like the cloaking of her hood kind of slowly unmasks that she was been sitting there the entire time, hidden and blends it into the wood itself.
Just kind of give a look up, and I'm like, huh, neat trick.
She scowls at you and she says, "Do you mind stepping away from the tiger?"
Just giving it a little look-see. Heard some growls. Just give it
You
a look.
hear the sounds of a low purring coming from your feet.
Take a look down.
You see kind of like tracing its way out from the base of the wagon, a panther.
It's kind of turned to Irina. I'm like, is this normal in Barovia, man? Like, it feels like this is going south real quick.
She says, "This is not normal in Barovia. There are no female elves here." You see the elf on the top of the wagon kind of chuckle, and she says, "I guess on that account you'd be wrong." Irina kind of scowls a bit, says, "You think you're funny?" She says, "I think I'm armed. Step away from the wagon."
I have my hands up, and I was like, "We meant no harm." And I just take a step back.
You see her kind of like look at the panther. She says, "Take the weapons, Maddox." You see the panther kind of like walk up to you guys, and it opens up its mouth, and it tilts back, waiting for you to drop something into its mouth. You see Irina kind of look at the panther, confused.
I mean, look, all I have is this, and I just pull out a dagger.
She says, "How stupid do you think I am?"
Fine. I just pull out a second dagger.
At this time, Mel, you would see that there's now an elf and a panther kind of like pacing around these two people who are, now by the wagon. Same for Davros and Watt.
I just look up at her and I was like, "I'm assuming he's with you also," and I point at the guy with the metal arm.
She looks over at you. She says, "I don't really see why you would think that." She hops off of the wagon without untraining her bow from you. The dexterity in her movement is ridiculous. It's almost like the bow is on one of those fixed camera mounts. As he leaps down, it just stays trained on you as she kind of like leaps off and lands.
Just on the account that he's been watching me and my friend here literally for the last, 10 minutes or so. Seems like y'all might know each other.
She looks at you and she says, "I guess you could say that. He's a associate of mine." Maddox, could you... She kind of looks a little bit disappointed and kind of like untrains her bow and says, "All right, never mind." You look over and you see the panther is like licking itself, no longer trying to pay attention to you guys.
Classic.
You see her say, "Maddox, I was doing a bit." Never mind. You see her kind of like spin the arrow and drop it back into the quiver on her hip, and she says, "All right, what do you guys want?"
Ian, do I recognize Amnon and
Irina?
Irina?
Yes, you do.
Okay. And they're going up to this carnival tent and everything in there.
It's like a wagon.
Like a wagon. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Seeing her put away. Go on.
Does the wagon look really weird?
It looks not Barovian. It looks very odd and well traveled.
Seeing that she put her bow away, I'm gonna walk up to the other two and be like, "Hey, y'all good?"
What? We've never been better. We were just talking to our new friends over here, weren't we?
What? You see the panther get up and excitedly run up to you and kind of like bury its head into your leg, rubbing it.
I'm just gonna like bend down and like scratch its head as I continue to watch what's happening.
It's a panther. You don't have to bend down.
Oh, you're right.
That's a big cat.
I walk up as well.
Okay. Norik, before you leave, you think you would have noticed this by this point? this is quite a scene.
Yeah, I would have noticed, and I sigh and I start to make my way over to the giant black cat.
DJ, do you come out of hiding, or are you still gonna hang back?
I don't know. Dijo comes out of hiding. He's tired of hiding. He's like, "Hey guys, what's up?"
Mel, you hear a voice from like basically directly behind you.
Whoa.
Never knew that Dijo could shut up for that long.
I'm like, oh good, he wasn't eaten this time.
So you hear the sounds of the elf kind of chuckle, and she says, "Well, I guess there's no point in doing the bit anymore. That my panther is literally cuddling the person I was trying to threat."
Yeah, you blew that one.
On that note, I'm just gonna like get down on one knee and start like cuddling with it and loving it even more.
The panther's all about this.
So is what? What's like really happy right now?
You see her
With
kind of
this
shake her
friend.
head. This elf has dark skin and freckles all across her face. She has an undercut, but with long hair on the opposite side that flows down into a ponytail that she has tightly woven and tossed across her right shoulder. You notice that she has a bow, and what looks to be like a large rifle slung across her backside. This would probably be the first time any of you have ever before. You see the man who was smoking kind of stand up, and you see a McCree-looking motherfucker, kind of like, I don't. That is the most accurate description that you're gonna get of him.
I know.
Is it Matt Mercer's canon character in the D&D universe?
No.
Matt Mercer's canon character in the D&D universe. So.
Fair enough.
So out of character, I know who these characters are, but in character.
Yeah. So the man kind of a bit begrudgingly at you guys as he kind of like puffs his cigar one last time and kind of like flicks it out and just steps on it, picks up the bourbon, takes a swig, and just keeps walking over to you lazily, like Jack Sparrow walks over to you. He kind of approaches you guys and he says, "Liz, what did you get yourself into again?" She says, "Oh, nothing. These gentlemen were just poking around Octavia." Don't say his name. Respect for the dead and all that, you know? He kind of takes a puff of the cigar again. And well, he reaches for the cigar to take a puff for it, but then he realizes that he put it out. He kind of scowls. So he looks at you guys and says, "So you new ones here?"
You can say that.
He kind of like tosses the shawl around. You see his metallic arm kind of like reach up and clank around with some steam-like motions before he kind of like rests on his hip. You see that he's got some kind of strange joint built into his wrist. You seem kind of...
Watch just playing with this panther and doesn't really notice much of this.
Yeah. Mel, this guy reeks of some kind of magic. Even though you haven't cast Detect Magic, you can tell that there's just something magical about him.
Is it his personality?
Is that something I would notice too, or no? Is it a different type
It's
of magic?
arcane magic.
Okay, so yeah, no, probably not.
So I would probably
Damn it,
even
DJ.
wager that even Nort is getting some kind of magical sense about this guy.
Spidey senses are tingling.
Yes.
Do I sense
Uh,
any magic?
No. I mean, you are a gnome, so I mean, maybe a little bit.
Just the magic in the air.
Yeah. So the guy's not short. He's probably about 5'10", 5'11" or so. But the female elf is pretty tall for an elf. She's 5'8".
Wow. That's taller than me.
No shit, Sherlock.
So she looks at you guys and she kind of grins and says softly, "Well, I guess we should probably do introductions. My name is Elizabeth, but you can call me Liz." The name hits your ears oddly. It's a human name.
Nice.
She's clearly a full elf.
I am Dijo Joe. It is a pleasure to meet you, Liz.
She grins, the freckles on her cheeks kind of like stretching to kind of give you a sense of relaxment and kind of ease about her personality. It's like her grin is effortless, a part of her. She kind of like kneels down. She says, "Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Dijo. Get yourself into any trouble lately?"
Not at all. I look at the rest of the party and smile.
You see the man with the beard kind of like sigh, take a swig, and say, All right, I know myself a liar when I see one.
DJ looks around at the rest of the party.
I'm just gonna casually, like, as if it's no big deal. I was like, "Yeah, he almost got eaten by hags."
So you guys are poking around my friend's wagon. Why exactly?
I don't know. It seemed out of the ordinary for a Barovian town to have such a non-Barovian thing in the middle of it. Seemed like it needed investigating. And look at who it ran us into. Some non-Barovians.
He digs into a small bag. Mel, you notice that it's a bag of holding. He kind of digs into it and he pulls out another. He clips it back to his hip. You see him kind of stick his finger forward, and the tip pops off in a little lighter forms. He lights the cigar before shutting the tip of the finger again. He takes a puff and kind of blows the smoke into the air, and he says, "Well, what if I told you we're not Barovian?"
No, that's what I was implying. Is that you weren't Barovian.
Yes, I was making a. He looked at me and realized, these people don't do bits.
No, we do. We just have our very own specific brand of humor. It's all inside jokes that nobody gets besides us. It's real
Quite.
shitty. Everybody has a bad time around us.
That's actually the most accurate thing that's been said today.
So, if and I might ask then, if you're poking around this wagon and you find it of interest, what about it is interesting other than that it's not from Barovia? He kind of takes a puff of his cigar again.
Sell anything?
I find myself to be more of a manufacturer of fine magical goods. An enchanter, almost, if you would.
What? Just like stops rubbing the cat for a second and looks up at him.
He says, I guess if we're doing introductions, I should probably do that. He kind of trades the cigar to his metallic hand and sticks his good hand out. It's his right arm. And he says, my name is Jameson.
Jameis.
I extend my hand as well, and I go, name's Amnon.
He shakes and says, it'd be a pleasure to meet you. Weeks, that's fine.
Say that again, you broke up.
He says, I would say it's a pleasure to meet all of you, but, well, I'll be dead in a few weeks, so what does it matter?
Certainly a dour way to approach things, but then again, we are in Barovia, so everything's dour here.
You don't know the half of it. His voice drops like a stone into the mud upon uttering those words. You can tell that he's been through quite a bit with just that statement.
I'm like, when you say we'll all be dead in a couple of weeks, you mean like all of Barovia?
No. Were it so simple. I'd imagine that it'll be him first. He kind of points towards Mel. And then
What?
Little. And then me. Probably the one with the horns. He's already got a prize from you, I see. He kind of points to your tail.
Hey, first of all, rude.
Second of all, it's not much of a prize, probably.
He kind of shakes his head and says, "You're all playthings to Strahd. To think that you could even mosey about without him letting it happen." He kind of like chuckles and steps through and says, "Well, come on then. Might as well follow in my footsteps. I know who you want to speak to." He kind of pushes his way through you guys. You see him kind of stop, turn around, and go, "Rex, come on, boy." You see out from the table you're sitting underneath, a mechanical dog juts up and comes trotting across the yard.
I'm just gonna turn to Liz and be like, is he always like this?
Honestly, this is actually a better day for him. He's already got half a bottle down. She kind of shakes her head and steps away.
He's just so brooding.
Well, when you see one of your best friends get killed before you, that happens.
I mean, I watched this one get killed, and I jerked a thumb over at Watt, who's probably still playing with Maddox on the ground. I saw that
Yeah.
one get killed, and it sucked, but I got over it.
I feel like me being here now helped.
Yeah, fair.
Liz,
I just ignores it and goes back to playing with the cat.
Liz turns and looks back at you, and she says, "Well, he'd not be the first revenant I've seen."
Oh, really?
Hey, look, there's more of you.
I'm just like, yeah, I see them in my dreams. It's kind of depressing.
I guess he
No,
would
no.
technically be the second one that we've seen.
She kind of cocks an eyebrow with interest.
We met another revenant back in Barovia, the village of Barovia.
Saladin the Paladin?
Her eyes grow wide with surprise, and you see Jameson stop mid-stride, and he turns around and he says, What did you say?
Saladin the Paladin? I know it rhymes and it's a dumb name, but
He scowls a bit, and he says, I think so, too. And he keeps on walking. Liz kind of goes, ooh, let's go to the tavern. Awkward.
Sounds like a good plan. I need a drink.
yeah.
So we're out of time for this episode. We'll pick up next when you guys are arriving at the tavern.
Yay! I
Me-
like taverns.
All right.
All
All
right.
right.
Yeah.
We'll catch you guys next week for episode 18. We'll probably just call it like the Blue Water Inn or something fancy, because that's probably what the episode's going to be about, is the Irwins. Very interesting people. I hope you guys like them. Thank you again so much for listening, and catch us next week. Keep on rolling.